Hi, this is Zach here with the US Chartbreakers here at Zach's Traders Cafe for Sunday, the 6th of August. Starting off with the S&P 500, which has fallen as perhaps was expected after being in that overbought zone for much of June and July, and also with the bearish divergence that kicked in, especially in the first week of this month. What you can see now is that we're heading back to a former resistance line, which is now a potential support line there at 44.70. Below that risks a move down to the 50-day moving average. That's currently around 44.20, but obviously that's rising, so maybe the market will meet that as it's rising at a higher number. 44.60 was June-July resistance, and that was the favored support zone once we topped out at the turn of the month. Moving on to the stocks and starting off with the stock which I don't think has appeared here since we restarted the US chart breakers here a few months back. But as you can see, Amazon has been in a rising trend channel, which has been basically started back in November. Obviously, it's been a very volatile ride, but gapping through resistance is always significant. And in this case, that resistance around the $135 level. Above that, on an end of day close basis, we could head quite quickly up to the top of that channel from November, as high as $160. In the upside rather is only really cancelled out if we break back below the floor of that channel. That's currently around 120 or $130 there at the moment, with the 50-day moving average. In fact, both the 50 and 200-day lines both rising, which tends to be very supportive of such situations. Less high-profile stock is next, and here you can see that we've got Amneal Pharmaceuticals, which has gapped through resistance. It's also gapped through the old resistance from this time last year. So a pretty solid move there to end the week. And that suggests that we're going to make progress within a rising trend channel in place since the start of the year. Top of that channel there around $5.40. And we're hoping to hit that as soon as the end of this month. Want to see the shares remain above the former or the main resistance for the shares around $3.60. So not a bad risk reward setup there at the moment on Amneal. Moving along to another new name, at least in the recent past, it's Elector. And looking at this situation, nice gap through the 50 and 200-day moving averages, 200-day line around $7.70. Above that, we're looking for as high as $12 at the top of a broadening triangle in place on the daily chart since November last year, and hoping to hit that $12 area by the end of next month. Moving along to another flying situation, one could say, applied optoelectronics, and here, beautiful pattern here, that sort of V-shaped pattern there after a near vertical move from the beginning of June or late May. Rising trend channel here in place since basically the beginning of May. Top of the channel there heading towards $17, and we're looking for that while we're above recent neckline resistance at $9, above 9, looking for 17 on applied optoelectronics. Another new stock, and it's interesting that we've got so many today. This is Big Commerce Holdings. What you can see here is a gap through resistance, which completes an island reversal, which is normally in fact, it's a bear trap island reversal, and even got a smattering of an inverted head and shoulders in there. If you look at the near-term price action, you can see that the stock would probably have caught a lot of traders out with the handbrake turn effectively that we had at the end of the week. This is set on the basis of the gap down that we had earlier last week, and then obviously the gap higher. So anybody who was short of that stock would be in a certain degree of pain at the moment. Broadening triangle recovery here, heading towards the $14 mark, hopefully by the end of this month or much sooner. Old resistance on the way down around $11.50. It's above $11.50, looking for $14 on Big Commerce. Next up is another stock which is finding its way to new heights. Here we've got Dream Finders breaking through the resistance zone of the end of July. That was around $27.20, and above that, we're looking for progress within a rising trend channel from the beginning of this year that has its resistance line heading as high as $38. So $38 on track, possibly by the end of this month, while we remain above the broken 27.20 resistance zone. Going on back to a stock which has been covered here several times, and you'll see why from the daily chart. Here we've got IC Zoom and broadening triangle here. Actually, it's a mixture between a rising trend channel base and a broadening triangle base. At the moment, the base is around $7, and while we hold above $7, we're looking for it up to $12 by the end of this month, especially while we hold above recent resistance around the $8.10 level. In fact, $8.16 was that peak at the end of last month, so above $8.16, looking at $12 by the end of next month on IC Zoom. Moving along to another fresh face, Orosur Technologies, and here you can see what's effectively a an island reversal turnaround, although I suppose the gap higher is a slightly different way of describing it. But we've broken a line of resistance there, gapped up through the 50-day moving average and 200-day moving averages in one day, especially while we're above that 200-day line at $5.40. We're looking for as high as $8, perhaps as soon as the end of this month. The bear trap and the gap effect there are very strong, as is the bullish divergence with the lows there for July, but RSI line actually trending up going into that. So I would have thought again another situation where the bears will be not too happy. Moving along to Suncar Technology Group, and here interesting setup with the rising trend channel that we've had in place since the middle of May. Nice end to the week there, just testing or just breaking that resistance from back in July around the $16.40 area and above $16.40, looking for up to $32 by the end of next month. Be cautious, you might wait for an end of day close above that rising 50-day line near $18.50 as a momentum trigger signal. Moving on to another new situation, telephone data systems. Here, a massive unfilled gap to the upside through the 50 and 200-day lines. Pretty impressive stuff. You don't see that very often. That came after a so-called abandoned candle that we had back in July. So looks as though the bulls very much on the back, the bears very much on the back foot. Another island reversal, bear trap island reversal formation. A very aggressive one, and that suggests that we could head up to the top of that broadening triangle from back in November, as high as $18.70 as soon as the end of this month. Upside valid while we're above, I suppose, the old resistance on the way down at around the $12.80 level. May stretch a little bit lower than that, but $12.80 hopefully will cover any pullback. One of the stocks of recent weeks, meme stock, full definition of a meme stock, one would say, Tupperware Brands, and a bit of a rocky ride over the last week, but we just need to break the $5.80 level, which is that February resistance line, to open up the possibility of a new target up to around the $8.20 level. Support, if we do fall back, should hopefully come in around the $3.80 to $4 band, which was the previous target on the shares, an old February resistance line. On to the last two, and the first one is United States Cellular Corporation, and here we're looking at a situation where shares have gapped up massively and filled the gap as well. So it's an island reversal, bear trap island reversal. That suggests we're looking at a very strong turnaround, and above the top of that gap there at $30.80, we're looking for the shares to hit the top of the broadening triangle from back in September as high as $42 by the end of this month. So a real turnaround there for United States Cellular. Finishing off with the final new name, because it's the final stock, Wilden Group, and here a normal push through resistance, but a pretty strong one. The resistance in question was around the $21.80 level, and above that looking for the shares to hit the top of that rising trend channel from September last year, as high as $31 by the end of this month. But the key here is holding above that $21.80, $22 zone in the meantime. That's it for me today. More updates during the week.